Hello and greetings everyone. Welcome again to my channel. I have so many things coming up. Oop, I got a little something going on in my hair. I've had a whole lot of ideas and thoughts that I wanted to bring you all, but we've currently been traveling. We are now in Asheville. This little bugger, we are now in Asheville. I came here with my husband and the two youngest because he had a medical convention here in North Carolina and he wanted to bring us along, and we thought this would be an excellent way to expand our homeschool. So we spent some days discovering and studying North Carolina, and then we had the grand pleasure of visiting the Biltmore Estate today, and it's got over 250 rooms, largest home in America. And it was just a really, really beautiful experience. But on and off, I have been on Facebook and I've noticed a continued trend, and I really thought that I would talk to you about this because by the same token, I do have young women, very young women, even early 20s, late teens, all the way up through their 40s and 50s, who inbox me asking, how I was able to transform my life, how I was able to make changes in my life. And one of the things that was really important and instrumental to me was embracing the feminine aspects of myself. I understand that we all have both masculine and feminine energies in us, but there are some really, really detrimental outcomes from this entire mantra, societal thing of the strong, independent woman, of the woman who doesn't need a man. And so I wanted to talk to you all about the reasons, a couple of reasons in my experience, and by talking with the people who I coach, people who just come in my inbox, friends and family, even on my Facebook page who comment on various posts I make. I'm looking at their experiences and I'm looking at the way in which they describe themselves and the way in which they lead their lives and their perspective on life. And truly, it's not their fault initially, because so many of us have been raised with this idea about the necessity of being a strong, independent woman. So many of us have been raised by mothers who also have been raised on hyper-feminist ideals. And while that can be very beneficial in various other aspects of life, but when it comes to interpersonal relationships between a man and a woman, it has skewed things to such a horrifying degree that many men are sick and tired and fed up of the hyper masculine presentation that a lot of women are putting forward as their main representative. And then you also have an aspect or a group of men who have been raised by a strong independent mother. Obviously she had to be in certain times in her life, and so they may not have had a father figure in their life. They may not have had a strong masculine father figure who's actually a man, and so they were raised with seeing women being the breadwinner, doing it all, cooking and cleaning. But they've also seen women being very angry, very depressed, very stressed, highly overweight, lots of health issues, because that is the fallout of strong, independent woman for a lot of women, particularly those who are in the lower economic brackets. Those are the outcomes, and we see it in our lives every day. So these men tend to grow up being more feminine and expressing more of the feminine aspects and expecting women to be like their mothers, very masculine, paying all the bills, while they sit back as a young son did, and watching his mother do everything for him. And so while the men have suffered from that, from a lack of healthy masculine presence and energy in their life, the women have also suffered, because when you've grown up with a mother who has espoused those ideals of being strong, independent, she typically, does not share valuable knowledge with her young girls, as well as with her young boys growing up in her home, on how to properly vet, how to properly date, how to position herself in her life. And it doesn't mean that because she doesn't want to be this, quote, single, strong, independent woman, that she can't educate herself, that she can't get degrees, and that she can't enjoy a full and rich life. But when she wants to embrace her feminine aspects of herself, then she's hit with the barrage of criticisms from other women who've not yet taken that leap. And now they want to call her weak, or they want to criticize her for wanting a relationship, or they want to use scare tactics when this woman who's decided to embrace, and she's seen the results of the strong, independent lifestyle and how she's seen the fallout of it, so she wants to embrace something else. And a lot of times the women who've not embraced it will tell her that this is a pipe dream, that there are no good men out there, that there are no true provider men out there, that she better have a job, she better do this, she better do that. Well, of course, if she's single, she would want to have a job and be able to support herself. But what about when she wants a strong, family-oriented, healthy, masculine man around her who would like for her to be there and be available for the children? If you're going to be in a marriage, most likely children are going to come about. Even today, there's the rampant, baby mama and baby daddy, where not married children are coming about. So of course, a man who understands strong family values and understands the value of marriage and how positively it affects society and your neighborhood and your own family, he's going to want a positively feminine woman who is understanding also and has the same values and goals. So when you have women who are espousing they don't need a man, they're strong, independent, one of the outcomes that I've seen that a lot of women who espouse that don't necessarily want to admit is that because they have not been taught how to properly vet for a good man, a masculine man, a man of good character, a man of honesty, trustworthy, a man who wants to support a family, who values that masculine trait of being a provider, who it gives him pride to support a family and provide for a family, because a woman has not been taught the things that are necessary to look for that type of man, as well as to attract that type of man. What they end up doing is attracting a lot of dusties, a lot of men who have no intention, who haven't learned that value in being a masculine provider, and don't see the value in being prideful about being able to take care of your wife and children and being there for your wife and children. So because a woman doesn't believe that that exists, she ends up attracting every single man that fulfills that prophecy. If she has the prophecy that there are no good men out there and that they all suck, well, she's going to attract that into her life. Then she's going to have terrible experiences, and that will only solidify what she already believed, which was that there are no good men, that they're all trash, they're all dogs. It's better to be independent and make sure you know that you have your own money. It's better not to ever depend on a man. You'll pay your own way, you'll buy your own meals, you'll pay for his date too. So then you end up having multiple negative experiences with men, because that's all you were looking for in the first place. And then you have only solidified and verified what you are looking for, because yes, there are men like that, boys out there like that. But if you are in a state of mind that you want something different, that you see other happily married women out here who have good men, rather than, denying that that exists, maybe have conversations with them. There are many coaches out there who are teaching women to re-feminize themselves, so to speak, or to embrace the aspects that they have been taught not to, give credence to. And so that's one thing that happens, a fallout of being a strong, independent woman, black woman, white woman, Mexican woman. Right now it's every woman, is that you keep getting more of what you're expecting, which is horrible experiences. But the other fallout from that is extreme loneliness, depression. It is getting yourself caught up into situations and getting your heart hurt because you're in. Sometimes I've seen it a time again, and it's not a I'm not denigrating anyone, but I can understand when sometimes you just feel so lonely and so desperate that you end up settling for anything. You end up taking everything that comes your way after you've been so hurt, or you tend to settle into this idea that you'll never meet anyone, you'll never be married, so I may as well, go further down this road that hasn't led me to a level of happiness that I see others having. And so, I think that a lot of times women who have this mindset really do play themselves, because, you end up with the short end of the stick. You end up settling, you end up having a stream of very bad ending relationships, you end up being used and abused, you end up being extremely stressed out, and you end up being, in most cases, a single mother because, the vetting process didn't happen. Even just being with a quality person didn't happen. And so, of course, you're sexually active. It's not as if, women who are saying they are strong and independent are also being celibate. A lot of them are not being celibate. And if they don't need a man, it's always interesting why so many of them have children without men when they say they don't need a man. So I really want to say, and that is not, I have been a single mother, and I've gotten myself into a previous marriage from a man who, again, was a beta, who did not believe in taking care of his family. And that was why, because I did not have my full scope of, understanding of my femininity and what I really wanted out of life. I was living on autopilot, and I ended up settling. I ended up getting myself bamboozled, into a situation where he said, oh, I'm going to do business, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And those are typically all stories. Nothing has been proven. We don't date potential and we don't marry potential when we are fully embracing our high value standards and our high value feminine self. And so I just want to encourage ladies who are on the fence, or those who have also been approaching me about how to really transition into the life that you really desire, and how to do so fearlessly without caving into the pressure of the women who are staunchly against your making changes in your life for the better. There's a way to get around that, and I coach on that. I discuss things about that. I also talk about that on my Facebook page, and I post a lot about that because it's a courageous act, but it is something that is so rewarding. And the life that you will live, being able to exhale the real way, not being able to exhale into more, BS or more dysfunction, but really and truly being able to exhale into your feminine natural state and find how easy it becomes to attract a loving, adoring provider, protector, family man who values you for who you truly are. And there's so much more to learn in that, but I was really kind of touched by a couple of inboxes I got today, and a little annoyed by a few Facebook statuses that people sent me, in my messenger, like, look at what, ladies are still out here saying. It's a mess out there. It really, really is. But I really want to encourage you to have faith and have the courage to seek a different life, and understand that the results that you are getting are not random. They're not just kind of happening out of nowhere to you. They're happening because of choices you've made. And a lot of us, again, have made choices based on our upbringing. A lot of it is not necessarily our fault, but we have to come to terms with taking responsibility for it regardless. So this is Leah Love. I appreciate you all being here. If you liked this message, please do like and click subscribe, and click your notifications. I love talking about femininity, about marriage, about homeschooling, about changing your life, about getting crystal clear on your mindset, about being a stay-at-home mom, being a working mom from home. I've done all of that, but I'm currently no longer working at a day job, which I did have, even though it was at home, I was still working for an employer. So now I can completely focus on my life, my family, my marriage, my children, and then build my own personal business that is more about pleasure rather than necessity. So definitely subscribe. I have leahloveonline.com, which is a blog about luxury, life, happiness, and hope. And I look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.